And so Allah says, بُشْرَاكُمُ الْيَوْمْ جَنَّاتٌ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. Congratulations to all of you of gardens at the bottoms of which rivers are flowing. It's right ahead of you. Keep walking, keep going, keep going. But then in the next ayah, Allah describes a group of people that also get up on Judgment Day and they notice they have no light and they're in the middle of the dark. And they see far ahead and they see, if you can imagine this scene, there's complete pitch black darkness and there's a group of people that seem to have some torches with them. You don't even see them, you just see some lights flickering. So you realize, I better catch up with them because those lights are getting dimmer. So these hypocrites wake up in this dark scene on Judgment Day and they try to run and catch up to the believers because they have no light of their own. They wake up and they're in shock that they have nothing that can aid them. So يوم يقول المنافقون والمنافقات للذين آمنوا انظرونا نقتبس من نوركم. The day on which hypocritical men and women are going to say to those who believed, wait for us, hold on, look back towards us. We could get some of your light. نقتبس من نوركم. And then a voice is heard, قيل ارجعوا وراءكم. Go back behind yourselves, go turn back. فالتمسوا نورا. Find some light. We're not going to help. The day of judgment is the day on which a mother doesn't care about her child. The day on which, father and son and brother and sister, all these relationships, تَقَطَّعَتْ بِهِمُ الْأَسْبَابِ. All relationships are cut. So who's going to care about who? I just need to get to my Jannah, mind your own business. I'm not even turning back. Go back and find some light yourself. And the idea of going back actually is sarcasm also. Go back to this world. Because on Judgment Day, if you don't come on Judgment Day with light, you can't get any. The only way to gain that light was in this world. فَالْتَمِسُوا نُورًا. So now they still try to catch up because they don't want to hear it, right? So they're still trying to catch up. And as they get closer and closer to the believers, فَضُرِبَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِسُورٍ لَهُ بَابٌ. A massive, gigantic wall is dropped between them, which happens to have a door. And the door, inshallah, maybe some other time we'll talk about. But Allah says a massive, giant wall is dropped between these two groups. So even if they were going to try to catch up, now they can't. So these hypocrites, may Allah not make us from them, become desperate. So they call out and they say, Alam nakum ma'akum. Didn't we used to be with you? Weren't we with you? So they're asking for the people of the other side. Apparently the door can be opened from the other side. Open up, guys, come on, we used to be with you. And so a desperate call is made. This is important before we go any further. This is actually the reason I chose these ayat for today's khutbah. This wording, Alam nakum ma'akum. Weren't we with you? The idea is that these people on Judgment Day that are standing on the wrong side of the wall, that are in desperate situation, that have no light of themselves, actually assumed that they belonged among the believing community. They were very confident about that. So much so that they're citing it even on Judgment Day. We used to be among you. We prayed with you, we did business with you, we were friends with you, we were family with you, we were cousins with you. We went to the same college, university. We're all the same, guys. How are we separated today? Why is this separation happening today? And from the other side, this time, now that they feel safe, once the wall is dropped, not only do these people get overly terrified, the people on the other side feel far more secure, so they're not in a rush anymore. Because now it's totally safe. So now they take their time and actually answer them and say, well, here's why you're not with us today. Here's why you're not with us today. The first thing the people of heaven told them was you have to go get some of your own light. فَالْتَمِسُوا نُورًا. Find some light on your own. Go back and get it. Apparently you don't have any light. And then they're in shock. We used to be with you. We should have had light just like you have light. So now the people of Jannah are going to describe how these people who used to have light, they used to have light, they used to have faith. How did they lose it? How did they end up bankrupt on Judgment Day? And this ayah is particularly profound because then it will give us an insight into how does someone lose their iman. How does someone end up taking the most priceless treasure that they can have in this life, our faith, and end up squandering it and losing it. It doesn't happen overnight. However, you put yourselves, I'll do a rough translation first, then I'll explain. Number one, you put yourselves in fitna, you put yourselves in trial. Fatana in Arabic actually means to put something to the test. Fatana is also used when you test the purity of gold and you melt it and impurities come out, like gold doesn't go through an easy test. It goes through a painful, burning test. The idea of fatantum anfusakum, there are many lessons associated with it, but for the purposes of this khutbah, I'll highlight one of them. You kept putting yourselves in situations where your faith gets tested. Try to understand what that means. You kept putting yourself in environments where you knew it was bad for you, but you said, no, I can handle it. I got this. You kept getting into gatherings and places and situations. You kept putting yourselves in those places assuming that it will not have any effect on you. It'll affect everyone else, but it won't affect you. You know, the first step wasn't that these people just became disbelievers, it was actually bad company. When you first put yourself in a bad environment, you might feel it. You might feel, this isn't good. This is gonna mess me up. I don't think I should be here. Your heart will feel uncomfortable. But if you keep putting yourself in that situation over and over and over and over again, guess what? It doesn't bother you anymore. Somebody who smells, stands next to a smoker for the first time is coughing and their eyes are burning. But if they start smoking themselves a year later, that just becomes their oxygen. They can't even breathe normally without smoking. It changes them altogether. The first problem was you surrounded yourselves in a bad environment. فَتَنْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ. What was the second problem? The second problem was وَتَرَبَّصْتُمْ. You kept procrastinating. Now what does that mean? That means you realized it's bad, and you also realized in your own conscience, I should change, but you told yourself, I'll change pretty soon, inshallah. I'm gonna change. I know I have to change. I know this is bad. Just one more week, and I'm gonna be a different person. Man, just this semester, I got these messed up friends right now, and I can't really make them upset, so I'm gonna keep hanging out with them. But next semester, I'm totally doing a different schedule. I'm not gonna be around these guys anymore. Actually, you assume that you can put the brakes on at any time. And you can walk away from all of it whenever you want. I'm not addicted. I don't need this. I'm not hooked on it. I can just walk away whenever I feel like. The truth of it is, that's not the case. The longer you stay, the more addicted you become, and the more impossible you feel, it's impossible for you to get out of it. You're completely immersed. You're completely drowned. And you don't even know anymore what it is to be outside of this environment. And then you start telling yourself, it's too late for me. And when that happens, a guilt sets in. The guilt sets in that I'm pretty messed up. Man, I've been doing sins. I've been in this bad environment. I should have made tawbah a long time ago, but it's too late for me. And that bad, nobody likes to feel bad. Nobody likes to feel guilty. And then shaitan comes and says, why do you feel guilty? You don't have to feel guilty. The only thing that's making you feel guilty is this Islam thing. Islam says this is haram and that's a sin and that's a sin and you can't do this and you can't say that and you can't go there. Islam keeps making you feel bad, man. I want you to feel good. How true is Islam anyway? And now the thoughts start running in this person's mind, a man or a woman. Why am I even following Islam? I'm not so sure about the Quran anyway. How do we even know there is a God? How do we even know? What's this hadith business? I mean, how do we even know it's authentic? And so you have this young man or woman, this Zainab, this Ali, this Fatima, this Abdullah, this Kareem, these beautiful names, and now they're starting to ask questions about, I'm not so sure about this Islam. I don't know. I have doubts, I have serious doubts. And these are not PhDs in philosophy, nor do they have exhaustive education in Islamic history where they studied it and they started developing doubts. No. They were in a bad environment. They didn't change themselves. That is the process. I've talked to hundreds of these people that literally live this ayah. They live this ayah. And then they get to a point where they have doubts. You know what doubt will do? It'll let you off the hook. You'll be able to say to yourself, well, it's not really absolutely the truth anyway, so I shouldn't feel bad that I don't follow it. I shouldn't feel bad. And now once those doubts settle in, and you hide behind those doubts, and continue to justify your life of procrastination and putting yourself in fitna, once you get to that point, then two things are taken away from you. The desire for Jannah is taken away. The desire for making Allah happy is taken away. The desire to have that light that will make you run and get to that destination, you don't even have that in this world. The person who desires to seek that success with Allah, Allah will give them that in this world. But that desire is gone now. You have doubts about it. And the fear of hell is gone. Those two things are gone. Your fears are gone, and your hopes and aspirations in Allah and the akhira are gone. The afterlife is nothing to you. the afterlife means nothing. If somebody even brings up heaven and hell, it's a joke to you. Well, if you take away heaven and hell, if you take away the motivation to end up in the reward of Allah, or get away from the punishment of Allah on Judgment Day, well, the only motivation you're going to have left are things that are left in this world, isn't it? They'll bring you contentment. So the next words are, وَغَرَّتْكُمُ الْأَمَانِيُّ. False hopes deceived you.